Welcome to Real Chat with Kat, the podcast that's all about real conversations for real transformation. I'm your host, Kat Pulcinelli, professional speaker, MC, and best-selling international author. Here, we tackle the tough stuff, the mud that we all have found ourselves in. We talk about the pivots, the challenges, and the victories that shape our lives and our businesses. From overcoming trauma and finding your voice to navigating life's unexpected twists, we get raw, honest, and open. You'll hear from inspiring guests who share their stories of resilience, healing, and growth. Whether it's breaking through emotional abuse, embracing self-worth, or thriving in entrepreneurship, you'll find connection, empowerment, and the tools to keep you moving forward. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and get ready for stories that hit home and conversations that make a difference. Let's get real together. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Real Chat with Kat. I'm so excited to have you here with me today, and I have such an awesome guest. And boy, let me tell you, I know I've talked about this so many times in the podcast over the last 2 months about everything has literally been leading us up to 2026. Claudia, you are the perfect guest leading up into 2026 as we are ending 2025 when this episode goes live. So I am so excited to have you on the podcast, to be able to have this conversation. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me, Kat. I am beyond excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, we're going to have so much fun. All right, everybody. So all those people out there that are like New Year's resolutions and I'm going to do this and y'all better get your pen and paper out because we're about to have a deep conversation. All right, Claudia, do us a favor then. Tell everybody who you are and what it is that you do.
All right. Thanks so much, Kat. I am Claudia Isla. I'm a holistic health coach. I'm the founder of CFit Mind and Body Wellness. I've got over 2 decades experience inside the health and wellness industry. I started as a personal trainer way back when, did that for a couple years, hated it, became a certified Pilates instructor, fell in love with that, opened my own studio. And I was a Pilates instructor for about 14 years. And boy, do I have a story about that. Even as a fitness instructor, you guys, I struggled on my own weight loss roller coaster. I thought I was doing all the right things. I was working out for a living, and yet the weight would come on, come off, and I didn't quite get it. In 2021, I graduated from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I enrolled at 20 plus pounds overweight. I had it officially, and that's when I became a health coach. And now I empower busy, driven women to drop unwanted inches and pounds and dogs and keep them off for good without grueling workouts, without restrictive diets, crazy, weird supplement regimes. And that's what I do.
Oh, I love this. And I'm so excited that you brought this up about how, it's not the crazy exercise regime. It's not all the supplementations. It's not all the nutritional stuff that, don't get me wrong, for people that works for, it absolutely works for. And I do think, especially as we move into a new year and everybody is starting resolutions, weight and being more healthy and things like that is one of the first things that people think of as one of their resolutions. And then what happens is we go down this rabbit hole of being healthy. We've looked at all the things online. We've looked at everything on YouTube. We've watched all the things that we're supposed to do. And then before we know it, we've spent $2,000 on supplementations, all these weights, the things you need at home, or you bought a gym membership and you go for 1 month, maybe 2. And then all of a sudden you're like, this is terrible. I feel sick. This isn't helping. I'm groggy. And you don't realize that it's just not working out for you. So thank you, first off, for stating that you don't have to do all those things. Yes, for those that love to be regimen, more flipping power to you. And realistically, there's a way to know how your body operates which makes things 10 times easier than feeling like, but this doctor said this, and then this weight loss person over here said this, and this woman who's got an 8 pack, which I know that I will never have, that's what I'm going to take advice from because, like, it's you really have to understand your body type.
Yes. Yes. Every one of our bodies is different. And, you said the R word, resolution.
Mm,
No, I'm all about sustainability and resolutions statistically. I mean, they don't work. I think it's like maybe 9% of people keep them even into like February. I mean, resolutions do not work. That's not the key. It's finding simple, sustainable habits and stacking those habits in a way that you're going to be able to maintain that lifestyle, that upgraded lifestyle. That's what it's about.
hmm
And I coach women on basically we reverse engineer. I'm big into reverse engineering. So for example, if we were on a one-on-one coaching call, I would ask you like, Kat, what's a typical day in your life?
mm.
What confounds you? Are you skipping workouts? Do you end up at the drive-through? And then we would reverse engineer your day. I've heard you in the past talk about morning and evening routines.
Yeah.
You're you're talking my language. Do you have a morning routine that
I
you're
do
kind of
have
a
a
morning
morning
person,
routine.
right?
Yeah, I am a morning person. I have always been a morning person. I think I will always be a morning person. But yeah, I do have a morning routine. And for me, just so that everybody knows, I actually let my morning routine fluctuate. I used to be like
Hmm.
very, very stringent on like, I have to get up at this time because I have to do this. And then what I realized was, especially now being in perimenopause, like sometimes my body is like, F you, we're not doing that today. So
Yeah.
generally my routine is, and we've actually kind of shifted it recently because I told my husband, I said, I've gotten out of my routine that I'm used to. So we go to the gym early twice a week to get some cardio and some sauna time in. I do stretches in the morning when I get up. That's my big thing. And then there's some mornings where my alarm will go off and I'm like, I should get up, but my body is like, can we please lay here? And so I will lay there for another 10 or 15 minutes and I think about all the things that are going great in my life. And then I will get up and I will start doing my stretches and everything. I usually have the same thing for breakfast with a little bit of a differentiator in the morning. And then I have my coffee and then I have, 20 minutes to just be me. And that is,
Beautiful. Beautiful. I want the audience to really hear that because what Kat's talking about is it's so in alignment with what I preach and how I live my life. You have to have structure in place, but not rigidity. And you have to listen to your body. And I love so much how you were saying how you listen to your body. And yet you've got that structure and that discipline so in place so that you're giving yourself that time, that cat time. We need that me time in the morning. It's so crucial so that you are in control of your day, that your day is not pulling you around by the nose. And I absolutely love that. And I'm a firm believer, excuse me, in an evening routine, some kind of evening ritual to set
mhm.
you up for that morning. Like I'll share a little, I think it's kind of comical about me.
Yes.
I am not, I am not naturally a morning person. I'm very like nocturnal. However, life dictates that I need to get up at about 5 and I'm a zombie, take between about 5 and 7 in the morning. Like there's no talking, there's no talking. And I'm in a good mood. I'm fine. It's this bubble that I need to be in. Your brain's in a certain wavelengths, when you first wake up, it's important not to
hmm
scroll and start checking emails. You need that time, some more than others.
Absolutely.
And let me tell you, I need a lot. And a lot of my ladies that I work with feel this way. So that said, I believe it's very important to set yourself up the night before. Any or all of the following, lay your clothes out for the next day. If you're planning to go to the gym, get those gym clothes ready. You have to stage your environment to support these healthy habits. Uh,
hmm
I believe in drinking water first thing in the morning before coffee. I keep a carafe by my bed, so it's right there for me. I set up the coffee so that when zombie Claudia comes out at 5:05, I just have to push a button. Otherwise, there's coffee grounds everywhere. The milk ends up in the cupboard. Like it's a night. So I'm not kidding. So it's all set up like that. Everything to the workout clothes, I can slide them on. The meditation that I want to do in the morning, it's on deck. Those, it's different for everybody. If you've got kids that need to get out the door, get the backpacks by the door, get the lunches prepped the night before so that you can glide into your morning, take that morning time that we just talked about, right? So it's all seamless. And then you go out and slay the day and you don't end up at the drive-through. right? You support
Yeah.
yourself with a healthy protein and fiber packed breakfast to get you through the morning. You've got healthy snacks packed. Is this easy? No. Is it so simple that I just want to shake some people? Yes, it's so simple. It's so simple.
Well, and what I love about this as well is this goes into um how many decisions we have to make on a regular basis. And
Yes.
they talk about um decision overload. And women, we're notorious for this, right? Because we're always
Mhm.
mentally doing 10,000 things. And what I found really interesting was if you look at certain higher up individuals like Steve Jobs, Tony Robbins, like a bunch of them, Dean Gracioso, if you ever notice, they usually are wearing the same thing every time that they are doing stuff because they're lessening the amount of decisions that they have to make. So I actually love this. And what's funny is I actually do this in the mornings that I know we're going to the gym. I have my gym outfit rolled up and put beside the sink because I always wash my face first thing in the morning. And then that way my clothes are right there and I can get done. Same thing with the coffee. We pre-make the coffee every single night. So it goes off in the morning and I can get up and I don't have to worry about doing all that because my husband has left the milk over in the side cupboard because he's not a morning person. So but it's I used to do this when my kids were younger too, where everything was done the night before. That way, in the morning when they got up, it was you got dressed, you ate, you had time to know what on earth you needed to do. If somebody forgot for me to sign something last minute, because it always happened, you had time to be able to do that. And then out the door they went. And I used to make my kids pick their clothes out the night before as well. Like I would have them lay everything out on the bed. And my boys weren't really morning kids to begin with. And so that was our routine was everything got done the night before, everything got zipped up because I didn't want my mornings to be crazy. I had enough things that were going crazy in my life to begin with. So I love this because so many of us don't realize that we try to make so many decisions in a day, and our brain literally just shuts down and goes, I can't anymore, right? So to
Yes.
anyone out there that is like stood in front of the fridge and you're like, I don't know what I want to eat. I know that there are six things sitting in front of me and I don't know what I want to eat. Being able to take those things down has made a tremendous difference, which has also shaped the way that I grocery shop now,
Yes.
especially being in the stage that I'm in, I'm supposed to have more protein intake and having two teenage, well, I guess now adult boys are going to kill me if I keep calling them teenagers. Um, they don't eat the same as mom. And so it's very crucial for me to have certain things that maybe are pre-packaged and already done. I don't mean like unhealthy, I mean like boiled eggs that
Of
I can
course.
already
Mhm.
get to, things like that
Right.
that I know when I come down at lunch and I'm like, whew, it has been a morning of meetings and I go, I don't want anything. I go, okay, well, I can at least grab this. This will take 2 minutes to heat up or 2 minutes for me to eat. And then I can go sit outside, which is my favorite thing to do on my lunch
Love,
break and just
love it.
breathe the air.
Yes, I love it. And decision fatigue is real. Excuse me. It is real. And so, for example, I get up so early as a rule, and just like you, there are days my body goes, lady, go back to sleep. So, it's that flexibility, it's that structure without rigidity. However, pardon me, I had a cold a couple weeks ago, it's still lingering. So the decision fatigue. So what a rule that I make for myself is no major decisions after about 2:30. And that's part of
Ooh.
the reason I'm glad we're doing this podcast early, because if we had done this at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I would just be looking at the camera, like drooling at it's the decision making and the quickness kind of goes away. And that's why it's lovely to leave something simple like what you're going to wear the next day. Leave that till the evening. Don't try to do that at 6 o'clock in the morning when you need that fresh vault of decision, that decision making
Mm-hmm.
capacity. So the more mundane things you can do, packing the lunch the night before, getting the hard boiled eggs ready, like you mentioned, or something that you can quickly heat up. Get it ready the night before. Or even one other thing I love to do with myself and with my clients is meal prep. However, I don't love to meal prep, and that shocks a lot of
I
people.
don't either.
I don't, and a lot of my ladies don't. But here's the workaround that I found: ingredient prepping. Because
Ooh.
I love this. So pick a day, depending, everyone's schedule is different. That's why when you work one-on-one with me, we reverse engineer your life. We take a deep dive into your individual lifestyle. For most of my ladies, it's the weekend, a Saturday or a Sunday. Go to the store, shop mindfully, Bring it home before you put it away. Start chopping the veggies. If you eat meat, maybe, grill up the chicken
Oh,
breast or boil it. Get the stuff ready so that when you need a snack, you've got the carrots and the celery chopped for the hummus. You've got a salad you can throw together. You can do a stir fry with some chicken or beef or whatever you love. If you like to have quinoa on hand, make it. And then it's ready for the next. And you only have to do this once, maybe twice a week. And that 30, 60 minutes max, a week that you spend prepping your veggies is going to save you time, pounds, energy, right? You're not ending up at the drive-through. You're prepared because meal prep is kind of a drag for a lot of us, right? Some
yeah,
ladies want to prep it and freeze it. That's cool. I can help you there too. But ingredient prep has been like revolutionary for my life and keeping the 20 plus pounds off that I lost 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. Ingredient prep is key. And so that's something that for those of you watching and listening, I'd love for you to consider that, because if you think meal prep, it's too overwhelming, I'm not
yeah.
do it, because the confused mind says no, right? It shuts down. So if you can break it down, break the big picture down into little doable steps and just chop some veggies, grill some chicken or saute it and keep it in containers, and boom, you're ready to go. Especially if you've got kids,
Yeah.
take your kids on the healthy eating journey with you. They may go kicking and screaming, and yes, you can still give them the things they love, that are going to sabotage you. You can still give them their treats, but encourage them. A lot of my ladies take their kids right on the journey with them, and their husbands.
Oh,
Husbands,
yeah.
that's a big obstacle for a lot of ladies. Well, he cooks on Thursdays and it's always hot dogs, or he brings pizza home, blame the husband, right?
Yep. Yep.
So that leads me to something else too, excuse me. Discipline and motivation and willpower, right? So a lot of people are waiting around for motivation to strike them, or
Mm,
I don't have any willpower, and it comes from discipline. And again, that morning routine, I'm going back into it, Kat. I'm going to get back into the morning routine. That morning routine for me is a time when I meditate, I read, I visualize, I journal, I work out to some capacity. I may save my harder workout for later, but I move my body. That personal development is so, so, so important, where you get to know yourself by sitting with yourself. And
hmm
I know you talk about this a lot on the show, and I'm happy to talk about that as well, but sitting with yourself, quieting your mind and going deep, and that motivation, you have to create that within yourself. And I think that having that solid morning routine starts to build that discipline. And then that discipline, your thoughts, your thoughts drive your words, drive your actions, your behavior, your results, et cetera. So we have to keep those in check. And motivation
hmm
is some magic rain that comes down on you. You've got to create it with discipline, and willpower
Yeah.
is the thing. And the better, by the way, the cleaner you eat, the cleaner you eat. Meaning, as you crowd out the sugars and the processed foods, which is my specialty, as you crowd those foods out, they become disgusting to you.
Absolutely.
The cravings disappear. And
Absolutely.
when you eat it, you go, how did I ever put that in my face? Right. And then you feel like
100%.
garbage after that. So it all just falls into place. Again, is it easy? No. Is it simple? You betcha.
Yeah. Well, and what's really funny too, because I want to touch base on this real quick, and then I want to go back to your ingredient prepping, because this is
Mm.
phenomenal. So speaking of weaning things out, so I I love chocolate.
Oh,
Love
yes.
chocolate. And
Yes.
I used to be like the candy bar person. If it was Snickers, it was Three Musketeers, it was Reese's. Like I always had something. And several years ago, I got into eating dark chocolate. Not Hershey's dark chocolate, people. Hold on, let's time that out. That is not
Right,
real. I mean, like
right,
a real bar of dark
right.
chocolate with like 70 to 80% cacao in it. Like that's what I'm talking about. And I found one that I really liked. But what was interesting was the more that I ate that, the less that I ate the other things,
There you
because I
go.
couldn't stand the taste of the fake chocolate and all the sugar. And now that's like my go-to. Heads up, everyone, just so that you know, I could have, which I never do. I usually have one square, which is like this big. It's
Mhm.
4 squares to equal one serving, which is only like 120 calories. And it still has a little bit of protein. It has calcium and stuff like that. And I only eat one square. And that's like my go-to. So I know that if I start
Yes.
craving something, I literally keep, I'm not even kidding you, Claudia. I have like 6 bars sitting in my thing because that is my go-to. At night, I used to love to do ice cream right before I went to bed.
Mhm.
Is what it is. I am that person.
Feel
And
good.
I was like, I've got to stop doing that, right? So I was like, okay, then I will have 2 things of my chocolate bars if I really feel like it. And that has become my thing. And I end up having that with water because it's such a like a bitter sweet taste. I don't want anything else with it. So then I get more water intake before I go to bed. But that's been like my little thing that I've done for years. And so now when people are like, "Oh, do you want this candy bar?" I'm like, "No, I'm good.
Yes.
I don't eat that." But it
Yes.
is so funny because it completely changes your taste buds, which is really weird because I didn't think that you could do that. Now, I'm sure that everyone listening can think of something they didn't like as a kid. Now they're like, I actually really enjoy that. Like for me, it used to be tomatoes. Yeah, the only
Mm.
thing I could have that had tomatoes was ketchup or if it was in spaghetti sauce. Like that was it. Now I can eat a tomato sandwich and just like fresh sliced tomatoes, and it's the best thing ever. And I would never been able to do that as a kid. So when I think of, you talking about changing your taste buds, that's immediate what I think of is think of the things that you didn't like as a kid that maybe you like now. It's the
Mhm.
same thing. You just have to teach yourself what
Yes.
it is that you want, and then the body starts to like it, and you can push away those other things. And it does become a lot easier once you get used to it because it really does change the way that things taste.
It truly does. Across the board, my clients tell me I don't even want that stuff anymore. And when I eat it,
Hmm.
I feel like garbage. So
Yeah.
it's true. That stuff, I mean, you get it, you start eating that sugary stuff, the Reese's and the Kit Kats, and it's like crack cocaine. I mean, it just makes you insane.
Yes.
And I don't, we can talk a little about it. I mean, I struggled with bulimia, and I'll tell you, it was those things, the sugars, the wheats, all the crinkly packages and bags and packages, all the processed stuff, some of it penetrates your blood-brain barrier the same way that opioids do.
Hmm.
And it has that profound of an effect on you. And you become just like a victim and you just start shoveling it. And for me, it triggered bulimia, that and a super controlling mother. But it triggered bulimia in me. And as I weaned myself off and learned so much when I was at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, I learned so much. And I just crowded those foods out. And now, like, I haven't had the urge to, go back to the bulimic way of life in
Hmm.
years because I'm not doing that to my body, to my brain, So the cleaner you eat, the cleaner you eat. It's just across the board. And that stuff, it becomes revolting to you. And thank you for attesting to that. I keep a bar of I'm hardcore, anywhere from 90 to 100% chocolate around. And I have to seal it tightly because that thing will last me weeks. I'll just break a little cup. I don't have it every day. And this is coming from a person who used to shovel, like Halloween, forget it. I mean, like a chipmunk. I would just shovel, shovel, shovel. And now I can't even fathom doing that, and it took
Hmm.
time, but here we are. And yes, now the thought of like a Kit Kat just it hurts my teeth. It makes me sick. So you can, as Kat said, you can change your taste buds.
Yeah. And
Oh,
what I love about this too is I was just watching something a couple of weeks ago, and um, it was a marketing specialist that has worked with
mm,
large corporations for years on how they shift the way that we think about processed foods. And so they were talking about the way that they use specific language, the way that they make the bags crinkle and pop on purpose because of the dopamine and the different things that it feeds to the brain, which then makes you want to eat it. And then what I didn't know, which is really interesting, was the amount of foods that they actually made, like Cheeto Puffs and chips and things like that, they made to actually break down so you don't have to chew it, which then signals to the brain that you're not actually fully eating. So then you want to continue eating more. And I was like, oh my God, this is psychological warfare on
yes,
my
it is.
brain. That
Yes,
was
it
the
is.
craziest thing. I watched the whole thing. It was like this 15-minute down in the rabbit, and I just sat there and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And then I was like, babe, listen to this.
Yeah,
I
you
like
got it.
immediately because we don't realize, and this is really sad to say, but especially in America, we do not realize the amount of marketing efforts that are
Mm,
put behind for us to like certain things that are not good for us. The specific type of neuro-linguistic language that they are using to make us feel and think a certain way so that we have the trigger to go and get it. And it is insane when you start thinking about that. But anyway, so if anybody wants to look that up, like I strongly suggest, like you want to go down a rabbit hole, throw your resolution to
Mm.
the side for a minute, go Google the psychology behind marketing with food products. It is insane
Yes, it
of
is
how
insane.
it trains us a specific way. And you know what? Maybe if you learn about that, that might help you understand that like it's not all your fault. Right? Like, yes, you may
Exactly.
have unhealthy habits. Yes, you may have decided to have that extra than when you shouldn't have, but like, understand that part of it is the way that they are pushing you to feel. And so
Yeah.
you have to be aware of that so that you can make different decisions.
Beautifully, beautifully put. And yeah, it's by design. It is engineered that way. And on top of everything else you said, they have food scientists experimenting with flavors to deliberately make them addictive, like the salty, sweet. That's not typically a combination you find in nature, right? But it hits your taste buds in your brain and in your body that way. And as Kat said, they engineer it so that you feel like you can't get enough. And
Hmm.
you end up being malnourished. And a lot of people who struggle with obesity are actually malnourished. They're walking
Oh.
around, right? Because they're eating the Cheetos and the Kit Kats and the cereals. And yes, I'm going to do the finger quotes. Yes, they're fortified. Some of them are fortified with vitamins and minerals. They're spiking your blood sugar. They're messing with your body's insulin response. They're screwing up your pancreas. There are more people walking around with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease right now than I don't even know the statistic, to be honest with you. I won't pretend, but it's a massive amount of people and they're
Interesting.
malnourished. It's when you shift it back and take the time to prep those whole shop for and prep those whole food ingredients and feed
Hmm.
your body those real foods. You want to think about the foods that you're putting in your face should be as close to what they look like in nature. You can identify a carrot. You can
Hmm.
identify to a degree, a chicken breast, strawberries. Can you identify a Fruit Loop in nature? Yeah, in its own natural habitat, it doesn't exist,
I like immediately thought of a tree with Fruit Loops hanging from it. Like my
right? As a
brain
kid,
went,
that'd be a
wee.
perfect world. But so you want the foods that you're putting in your body.
Sorry, I.
I'm glad. But it should be as close to its natural form as possible and have as few ingredients. Now, of course, you can be a nitpicker and say, well, a salad has 13 ingredients. You know what I'm talking about. Those crinkly packages, boxes, and bags that are full of
Hmm.
ingredients. And heads up, everybody, those of you who are looking for gluten-free and vegan and sugar-free and fat-free and reduced calorie, those typically they're very processed typically and have other ingredients to substitute the natural stuff, the fats and the flavors, and those are messing with your body's insulin response. For example, sugar substitutes. Your brain goes, something sweet, it reduces insulin, excuse me, it produces insulin. The insulin gets out in your system and goes, well, there's no sugar for me, my little Pac-Man. There's no sugar for me to process. And then
Hmm.
you end up with digestive distress. It actually can trigger obesity and a diabetic response. So these artificial sweeteners to me they're just the devil. I mean, you might as well just have a little sugar.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And I had that conversation with it was one of the teenagers that was hanging out around our house because one of their go-tos was Diet Coke. And I was like, honey,
Oh,
why Diet
yeah.
Coke? And they were like, yeah, but it doesn't have this. And I was like, you have to understand that anything that says no sugar, zero calories, no fat, I'm like, you have to understand that there's a substitute that is put in place so that they can make it that way. Like they don't just eliminate it and they still continue to make it. That would be like trying to make a cake without flour. Like there's
Right.
certain things that they need, so they just substitute it for other things.
Yes.
And they were like, well, and I'm like, no, I need you, like, please, I need you to do the research and understand, because I learned that years ago that, just because it says fat free or sugar free, the things that are put in it that are even worse. And I'm like, I would just, yeah, I agree. I would just rather have the sugar. Like, let me
Exactly.
just, at least my body knows what it is, but I've been really big on like, how can we pay attention to the ingredients that are in our food, right? If there are 30
Yes,
ingredients in something that you're eating and you can't pronounce half of them, probably not something
exactly.
that's it's going to be
Exactly.
the best for you. And I'm guilty of it. Like, don't get me wrong. I am totally guilty. I will go and I will, eat out of a tortilla chip bag occasionally. Like, that's my guilty thing. Like, I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I am absolutely by far not. But I do try to be a little bit more conscious and aware of, am I doing this all the time? Do I keep this at my house all the time so that I am always in it? And I think that
Yes,
that's the bigger thing, is understanding, like, if you're trying to be, like you said, disciplined, discipline doesn't mean you just cut yourself off, right? Now,
exactly.
some
That's not
people are really
sustainable.
good at that. I have seen some people that, most of them are in some form of like body competition or something, and they're
Sure.
gorgeous, right? And the way that they make their foods and the crazy things that they make from certain things, it's cool. And I'm like, I'm never going to take the time to make that. It just is what it is. So you have to figure out where you are as an individual and where you kind of stand so that you can say, okay, I know that that probably isn't the best, but that's probably better than these. But I'm going to get rid of all of this, and like this will be my guilty pleasure every once in a while. And you can yell at me, Claudia. It's okay. But I feel like we kind of need to be realistic with our
Yes,
goals and the things that we're wanting to do. Otherwise, we try to be so one-sided that, again, that's the reason why we falter back to the other side, because like, this is too hard. This is too many changes. These are too many things I don't like. It's too much for me. This is easier. So I think that finding the balance and then kind of stacking on it is kind of where we need to be.
yes. And sustainability is the key. You can go hardcore at something, and even these bodybuilders who, they shred for competitions, a few months
Hmm.
later, they're 20 pounds up. Um, it's not sustainable. And to your point, Kat, I love, love, love to live by the 80-20 rule. I'm more at like 90-10, but 80-20, even 75-25. And here's what I mean. Let's just go 80-20. 80% of the time, the foods that you are eating and the things you're drinking are whole foods, water, vegetables, fruits, clean protein, clean meat. And then 20% of the time, it's okay, especially right now, around the holidays, it's okay to have some cookies. It's okay to have those chips. It's okay, if you're at a birthday party, enjoy a piece of cake. That's okay. Have the champagne toast. But 80% of the time, you are consuming real whole foods. And that's a sustainable way to lose and maintain weight and keep it off. Because if you're cutting out, denying, you're going to go off the rails and end up with chocolate smeared all over your face and ice cream in your hair. And nobody wants that. It's not attractive. So we want to keep it, we want to keep it at that steady pace where, I like to plan out the week. If I know I've got a big party coming up, I'm going to eat super clean all week. And then,
Mm,
right. So you can do 80-20 on a daily basis. You can look at it, if you've got a vacation coming up, you can look at it more. Maybe this month you have to approach it more on a weekly or a monthly basis. So listen, I'm going to Acapulco for a week in January. I wish. So I know, like, I want to be super, super clean leading up to that. And I'm not going to go off the rails on my trip. I'm still going to eat lots of good whole foods, but I'm going to have the margaritas and the cookies I'm going to do that for a week. But I've been really good before. And then, and then when I come back, I'll get back on the rails, but you're keeping your
hmm.
baseline here. Right. As opposed to just, not eating well, then going on vacation, and then you're totally off the rails. So that
Yeah.
80-20 lifestyle, and for some people, again, it's 75-25. I'm more 90-10. The cleaner I eat, the less junk I want. I'm just turned off by junk now. But
Hmm.
that's a really sustainable way to lose weight and keep it off and be a human. We're not robots.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to keep it off.
Yeah. No, thank you for this, because again, we have so many, again, we have social media in our face every single day.
Oh
You can
yeah.
Google and YouTube absolutely anything that you want. And unfortunately, everyone out there has an opinion. And a lot of times those opinions are false, or they don't have any form of a background. They just decided that they were 20 years old and looked amazing and we're going to talk down to everybody else because this is what you should do. Like
Yes.
there's a huge gray area of understanding who really knows or has been through, like you with your bulimia and things like that. Like you have the ability to relate to people that really have been through some things.
Mhm.
No offense, but if I was working through anything, I'm not going to go to someone who's 18 and 20 years old, whose body operates very differently than mine, and them say, well, you need to lose the pooch. Honey, I had two kids and I'm in perimenopause, and there's part of that pooch that
Exactly.
is not going to go away. Like I've
Exactly.
accepted that. I'm not going to have an eight pack like I did when I was your age. And I feel like we get all consumed by all the things that are out there. And I just want anyone listening to just take a moment and think about it when you're online. And if you hear these people making fun of other people or saying like you shouldn't be this weight and stuff, please disregard that. Because if anyone is coming across and the first thing out of their mouth is negativity and we're putting other people down, then they don't actually know what they are talking about. They aren't actually helping people on a real level because those people that really do want to help have been through things that are similar, who know how to be compassionate for you, and they're also going to give you some positivity. And they're not going to break you down because they think that that is what's going to get you to where you need to be. So I really just, that's like for anybody that is really thinking about making the changes for 2026, like please make sure that you are paying attention to what you are absorbing online because there are so many people that are lying to you and you're
Mm.
feeling bad about yourself because they're saying something or because they look a certain way, which doesn't match you. And that's not fair to yourself. You're not even giving yourself a chance.
Absolutely. Remember that we are all bio individuals and we're all at, different phases in our lives. I am someone who has gone through perimenopause. I'm in my 50s now. I get it. I've struggled with body image. I've struggled with bulimia. I've struggled with um, abuse and still we all have our stories, right? And so we're not trying to get cut and ripped for the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit, issue. We are in our 40s and 50s, the ladies in my circle that I empower, and we have to honor, where we are, what our bodies have been through, and just be, it sounds so corny, but just be the best you can be, right? It's not a competition. And you just have to honor where your body is right now.
Hmm. Yeah. And
And
I think that, go ahead. Go ahead.
I would love to hear what you have to say on that same topic. I really would. You go.
Yes. Go ahead. You know, you can finish. I have something. Go ahead.
Because I'm going to go on a more practical level because I want to talk
Okay.
about, but I want to talk about label reading as well. But I think we
Mm.
kind of covered that. I would rather kind of stick on honoring our own bodies, finding what works for us. And I'd love to hear what you were going to say.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say that I think that, like you said, loving ourselves and our own body is so, so integral.
Yeah.
It should be in the top 2% of things that you're paying attention to because we are not all made to look the same, right?
No.
Most people that I speak with, from a doctor's perspective, is going to say that I'm overweight. You can all kiss my lily white butt, because I know that I'm not. Okay. Now, am I the healthiest that I have been before? No. Am I getting back into it? Absolutely. But I've always had bigger hips. I've always had a bigger butt, and I've always been a little bit slimmer up top. That is my body shape
That's cat.
versus me looking at some of these women that are just like perfectly sculpted and I'm like I am never going to look like that. And the same thing, like I have fought with that for so long, and especially being in an abusive relationship, that was one of the things that was really torn down was my image, right? I wasn't allowed to dress certain ways. I wasn't allowed to wear tight
Mhm.
clothing. If I put on too much weight, I was this, I was that. And I
Yes.
think that especially us as women, and I'm sure that guys face this too because of all the covers of magazines and stuff as well. But we women really beat ourselves up because we don't look a specific way, because we aren't the hourglass shape, because we have a little bit of fat on our thighs. First off, girls. Fat on your thighs is fantastic. But I just wanted to reiterate what you were kind of talking about is like love yourself in your own body and be okay with the body that you have. You can strengthen that body, you can tone that body up, you can make it feel better, but don't expect
Yes.
yourself to just shred this weight and look like this little skinny pole bean that everybody has that's wearing all the
Yeah.
dresses that I know I can't because I don't fit that stuff. No. And just know that it just is what it is, and again, it's that marketing ploy that society puts out there that women are supposed to look a certain way, that we're supposed to have a specific figure. And if you look at the Greeks, I'm just saying,
hmm Not
and you
saying,
look at
just
all those
saying.
stature as those statues, those women have a little bit of love handles on those
Mm,
statues. And I didn't really realize that. I was watching something one time and somebody was actually talking about it. And again, I went down the rabbit hole and I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Started Googling all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, first off, their women are beautiful, and that's how they
yeah.
see their women. And none
Yes.
of them that are sculpted that way are little bitty pole beans with six-pack abs. I'm sorry, I'm not giving
Yeah.
anybody crap, I promise. Um, but they looked natural. And that's
Yeah.
what society is trying to get us away from. And I need people to cover their eyes and know that
Yes.
that's
And
not
to the,
realistic.
and to the women who do have the 8 packs and do live in the gym, keep doing you. That's great.
Oh,
Uh, and
100%.
don't badmouth others who don't look like that. And then to your point, love the body that you're in. I just implore you to feed it the best quality foods that you can, to move it as much as you can in a way that you find enjoyable. It doesn't have to be the cat's plan. It doesn't have to be that trendy punishing workout at the gym that you saw on Instagram. That's no. It's so important to take an enjoyable approach to fitness. Otherwise, you're not going to show up for your workouts, right?
Hmm.
And so to bank on what you said, yes, your body, your body's been through what it's been through and it looks the way it looks. And we want to make it so that you love your body. The clothes that you love fit you and you feel great in them, right? So finding that enjoyable approach to fitness is key. You've got to move your body. It doesn't have to be a punishing, grueling, weightlifting workout. I do encourage the listening audience, especially you women over 40, to strength train every other day. I would say 3 times a week, strength train, lift a little bit heavier weight and go for fewer reps. You're going to save time. You're going to see better results. Our bodies are not the same as when we were in our 20s and 30s, where it responds better to lots of cardio, low weights, high reps. Now we have a different kind of cortisol response, right? Different stress response. And when you stress your body in certain ways, you trigger cortisol production, which equals belly fat, right? So as women over 40, we want to do those slower paced, heavier weight, lower rep strength training workouts about every other day, right? Muscle's going to help your
Hmm.
body naturally burn more fat. It's going to support injury prevention, and it's going to make you look and feel great as well. And then walk as much as you can. And here's the thing. I encourage you not to go for that all or nothing approach. Oh, I can't make my 45-minute workout today. I'm just not going to do it. No. At least, like walking, for example, it's great to walk at least 30 minutes a day. Some days maybe you can't, but I encourage you to take even a 5-minute walk or take 2 10-minute walks, break it down, but move your body, get a walking pad and a standing desk if you can, if you work from home. It's just so important
Hmm.
to move. Deconstruct the way that you may be thinking about fitness and working out. Okay. It doesn't have to be that regimented butt kicking, pushing the tires across the floor, right? If you're not doing that, that's okay. I don't do that. And I'm happy with my body. So feed your body the whole foods, find an enjoyable approach to fitness that you're going to show up for. It's yoga, Pilates, but do strength train several times a week. And then work on that mindset. Everyday weight loss, my friends, weight loss is a byproduct of these healthy habits. It's not,
Mm.
look at it as the goal. I want to lose, 20 pounds. Okay, cool. How are you going to do that? We have to reverse engineer and break it down. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, that mindset is key. You've got to work on that mindset. You've got to create your own motivation by being disciplined and loving yourself and your body the way Kat so beautifully described, so that you just honor yourself and you want to show up for yourself. And that weight loss comes. an average of 1 to 2 pounds a week sustainably. You can still have the glass of wine. You can still have the chips and guacamole, but you're going to be able to realistically and sustainably get that weight off and keep it off.
Oh, mic drop. We're going to end it right there. We're done. We're going to say anything else. That was fantastic. We're just going to leave Claudia right there, which I was going to end with some things to give people anyway. So there you go. Make sure that you all wrote that down. If you didn't, go back, rewind, go ahead, take that in there. No, but I love that you said, making sure that, you're doing things that are sustainable, and then the weight loss is the byproduct. And that is beautifully put. Thank you for that, because I think that we get so stuck on watching this. I literally do not own a scale. I have not owned a scale in my house in 6 or 7 years. I refuse to own one, because I would find myself on it all the time, and I got sick and tired of it. So, okay. So as we come to a close, Claudia, please do us a favor. Tell everybody now, where can they find you? How can they follow you? How can they be in your world?
I love it. Thank you so much. So you can find me I kind of live on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram and a little bit on LinkedIn as Coach Claudia Isla, all one word. So if you type that into your little Google search bar, my Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn should pop up. Again, Facebook is my favorite. And I do want to offer a freebie today, if that's okay.
Please.
So it's my full color breakup with junk guide. It's easily digestible, no pun intended, information for you to understand the different types of processed foods, what they're doing to your body, ways how you can identify them, and some healthy swaps that you can choose instead. So it's super simple, and I'd love to offer that to the readers today, and Kat will help you get that.
Yes. Oh, 100%. We'll make sure all that information is in the show notes. We'll make it super easy for you to be able to find it, click on it. We'll have all of her social media handles in there as well, so that you can find Claudia super easily. Go find her, go follow her. Definitely get that freebie. I'm going to go check that out. Because I'm trying to talk my husband into, no. But thank you, Claudia, so much for being a part of the podcast today, and just sharing so much information. I can't thank you enough for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Of course. And to everybody else out there, let me tell you, throw resolution out the window, sustainability, starting slow, building on top. That is the new way of doing things. What small thing can you start with today that you can then move into 2026? And then how are you going to stack on top of that? I think that is a fantastic way to end 2025 and start thinking about your new year a little bit differently than the way that society has deemed it. Just my opinion. But thank you guys so much for listening. Claudia, thank you so much for being a part of this. And of course, until next time, do one thing positive for someone each and every day, and see the difference that it makes in your life. Catch you later. Thank you so much for tuning in to Real Chat with Kat today, where real stories meet real solutions. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review on Apple, and share this with someone who may also need to hear this as well. Let's also keep the conversation going. Follow me on socials at The Lotus Effect, connect with our incredible guests, and remember, you are never alone. Your story matters, and you have the ability and the power to rewrite it. You always have a choice. Until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and keep showing up as the incredible, unstoppable